Sales at the nation's retailers hit a sour note in September as bad fashion and weak back-to-school sales provided a double whammy of bad news. But one retail giant actually boosted its outlook.
The United Auto Workers roll on to Ford Motor. It's the last of the big Detroit automakers to negotiate a new labor deal. Analysis on what's at stake for Ford coming up.
The home of high rollers is suffering from a housing bust. Las Vegas boasts one of the nation's highest foreclosure rates, and there's little sign of improvement on the horizon.
Then we head to the operating room where in-flight safety programs are helping hospitals help patients. We'll show you in tonight's Bill of Health.
I'm Paul Kangas.
And I'm Susie Garrow. This is Nightly Business Report for Thursday, October 11th.
Nightly Business Report is made possible by
Franklin Templeton Investments, providing a unique perspective through the specialized investment expertise of Franklin Templeton Mutual Series and Fiduciary Trust. Franklin Templeton Investments. Gain from our perspective.
A.G. Edwards. Objective financial advice can help you build a better nest egg. A.G. Edwards, fully invested in our clients.
This program was made possible by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. More signs today that American consumers are feeling the financial squeeze from slumping home prices and high gas prices. The nation's major retailers reported weaker than expected September sales, prompting some to warn that their quarterly earnings will also be disappointing. As Erica Miller reports, the poor performance is also raising worries about consumer spending during the crucial holiday season.
Clothing stores catering to children and teens typically register sharp increases in sales in September, but not this year. Many chains, including Abercrombie & Fitch, American Eagle, and Children's Place, posted disappointing results. Other retailers like Macy's, JCPenney, Nordstrom, Gap, and Target also fell short of expectations. Retail analyst Richard Jaffe says that trend does not bode well for the all-important holiday season.
If you don't sell enough in September, you end up with more product left over from the third quarter to carry into the fourth quarter. So your back-to-school fashions are now trying to be sold during the holiday season, and that's not good.
Most retailers blamed unseasonably warm weather for crimping fall clothing sales. Analysts say high gasoline prices, the weak housing market, and credit crunch are making consumers more frugal. Experts also point the finger at uninspiring fashions.
Even in tough times, if it's something you really want, you'll buy it. And in a very depressed economy, that want can make a real difference in your attitude. If you're forced to cut back in a lot of larger ticket merchandise purchases, the apparel can be a source of comfort. And we actually, in down economies, have seen apparel sales improve.
Softness in September prompted many retailers, including Nordstrom, Limited Brands, American Eagle, and Target, to lower their earnings guidance today. But Walmart bucked the trend, boosting its profit outlook for the third quarter. Bear Stearns analyst Christine Augustine, whose firm has done business with Walmart over the past year, says the company is successfully reducing costs.
What it tells me is that they have really tightened up on the expenses, and it's not just the store scheduling system. It's, expenses at the corporate level. It's expenses at the operating level. They're really looking hard at everything. Everything is under scrutiny.
After September's weak results, analysts are even more convinced that holiday sales will be disappointing. Many are predicting gains of just 3 or 4% for the industry, the slowest growth in 5 years. Erica Miller, Nightly Business Report, New York.
Crude oil prices soared to their second highest level ever today, rising to $83.67 a barrel and 67 cents a barrel in intraday trading before pulling back a little bit. The move higher came after an unexpected drawdown in weekly crude stockpiles raised supply fears ahead of the winter. Oil for November delivery ended the day up $1.78 at $83.08 a barrel. That's a gain of 2.2%. Crude oil stockpiles fell by 1.7 million barrels last week to their lowest level since January. Analysts had expected a 1 million barrel increase in crude inventories.
It's 2 down, 1 to go in contract talks between U.S. automakers and the United Auto Workers Union. The UAW is expected to turn up the heat on Ford Motor now that it's sealed a deal with General Motors and reached a tentative agreement with Chrysler. Analysts think negotiations with Ford could be more difficult since the company's carrying a lot of debt and isn't as far along in restructuring as General Motors. Still, analyst John Cassessa, president of Cassessa Strategic Advisors, thinks Ford could get an agreement quickly, similar to the ones GM and Chrysler reached with the union.
I think they'll reach an agreement that's constructive because Ford has a good relationship with the union, and they've been talking about these issues for some time, and also because Ford is in very difficult shape, and I think the union will respond to that and not want to do anything that will damage the long-term viability of this company.
Cassessa thinks Ford will follow GM and Chrysler's lead by moving retiree health benefits into a trust. He also thinks that could help the company renegotiate lower interest rates with its lenders.
Wall Street opened with a strong rally as those weak retail sales were overshadowed by Walmart's boost in earnings guidance, and rallies in Asian and European markets helped, and so did a drop in the trade deficit. In a steady advance, the Dow was well into record territory by 1:30 this afternoon, posting a 113-point gain, while the Nasdaq was up 20 points. Then came a burst of selling in the high-tech stocks, which sent the Nasdaq plummeting to a 52-point loss at 3:30 p.m., and the Dow was off 120 points. Some late buying, however, trimmed the losses. The Dow Jones Industrial Average closed off a more moderate 63.57 at 14,015.12. The Nasdaq Composite was down 39.41 at 2772.20. Standard & Poor's 500 fell 8.06, ending at 1554.41. In the bond market, the 10-year note climbed 4/32 to par and 28/32, putting the yield at 4.64%.
Home builder Beazer Homes will put its financial house in better order. The company said today it'll restate results probably as far back as fiscal 1999. The move is the result of an internal investigation into its mortgage origination and other business lines. Beazer says it's not sure yet how the restatement will affect profits, but earnings for fiscal 2006 could take a hit. That investigation also found evidence that employees at Beazer's mortgage unit violated federal housing guidelines.
The national foreclosure rate doubled in September from the year-ago period. According to Realty Track, there were nearly 224,000 foreclosure filings last month. Las Vegas made the top 10 cities with high foreclosure rates, reporting one foreclosure filing for every 150 households. As Stephanie Du reports, what happens in Vegas is being watched in the real estate industry nationwide.
In this gambling town, making money on real estate seemed like a sure bet just a few years ago. In 2004, home prices in Las Vegas skyrocketed 46%. But over the last year and a half, home prices have steadily declined, and buyers have all but disappeared. Carol Smolin's 3-bedroom, 3.5-bath home has sat on the market since July with no offers.
I think people feel they must sell their homes before they can buy something, and most people that are coming to look have not done that. They're coming to look to see what's on the market. They're kind of checking it out, and they have this big concern looming that they're not going to be able to sell their homes, and that's kind of a snowball effect.
Smolin has already bought a new home and says she can afford to hold on to both. Not everyone is so lucky. The signs of distress are hard to miss. Las Vegas has 24,000 homes for sale. Many of them are vacant, and the city has one of the nation's highest foreclosure rates. Mike Brunson is a home appraiser. He describes how he felt during the market frenzy, pressured by builders to give favorable reports.
This is too much too fast, and there's really just far too much liability. People aren't giving us the time to analyze the real estate market and figure out what it's really doing. And the second half of it was when you did tell them what it was really doing, they didn't like those answers.
Brunson shifted his business away from lenders and builders and now provides expert testimony in mortgage fraud cases. He thinks it will take 2 years for home prices here to stop sliding.
The issue is economic purchasing power has gone away. People can't afford housing anymore.
Still, some see a good hand in Las Vegas real estate. Home prices have already fallen 8%, and some sellers are now willing to make deals.
One reason some people are betting the housing slump here won't last long is that commercial development is still strong. Take, for example, MGM Mirage's City Center project. Right now, 4,000 people are working on its construction, and once complete in 2009, it will employ up to 14,000 people.
In the next 5 years, the gaming industry is expected to pump $40 billion into hotel and casino projects, which should create 80,000 new jobs and demand for 40,000 homes.
One of our more popular models.
While Amstar Homes president David McIntyre expects buyers to come back to the table early next year, he says now is the time to buy.
By sheer virtue of the fact that we don't have any more land to build on, the stakes are higher than they've ever been. The opportunity is greater than it's going to be tomorrow.
But today, the market is in transition, and builder incentives are having some unexpected consequences.
We're seeing the cancellation rates exaggerated as a byproduct of the incentives in the market. Folks are writing a contract and then continuing to shop, and where they find a better incentive, they're canceling one and going into another one.
What's in the cards for Las Vegas depends on if the overall economy is dealt a blow from the housing downturn and how much that dampens travel and tourism. Stephanie Du, Nightly Business Report, Las Vegas.
American homeowners aren't alone in watching house prices fall. New data out of Britain today show home prices there declined last month at their fastest pace in 2 years. The survey also showed the number of people looking to buy a house dropped in September for the 10th month in a row. Analysts say interest rate hikes by the Bank of England are increasing concerns about the British economy. The bank's benchmark rate now stands at 5.75%. That's the highest among the group of 7 industrialized nations. A jury in Nevada has ordered Wyeth to pay more than $134 million in compensatory damages to 3 women who claimed their breast cancer was caused by the drug maker's products. That award may go higher because the same jury will consider additional punitive damages tomorrow. This lawsuit is one of more than 5,000 that the pharmaceutical firm faces over its hormone and estrogen therapy drugs. Those drugs, including Prempro and Premarin-Pol, have been linked to increased risk of breast cancer.
Wyeth had no comment on the Nevada jury's decision, Susie, but in court it has argued that the drugs are clearly labeled with the medical risks. Now let's take a look at our stocks in the news tonight. Most active big board issue on nearly 27 million shares, Ford Motor moving up 53 cents. As you heard, UAW has begun negotiations on a new labor contract with Ford. Citigroup did well, up $1.18, EMC an 18-cent rise. Then a new issue, Virgin Mobile USA. This is a joint venture between Sprint Nextel and Richard Branson's Virgin Group, which is privately owned. 27.5 million share initial public offering today, priced at 15, opened at 15, the high of the day, $16.63, then it backed off a little, but still closed above its offering price. Walmart Stores, the star of the Dow, up $1.31. As you heard, the company boosted its third quarter earnings guidance. It was 62 to 65 cents, and now it says 66 to 69 cents will be the figure. General Motors doing well, up $1.86. 66% of the UAW workers at GM ratified the new 4-year labor pact there, and today Citigroup repeated a buy on GM stock, boosted its price target from $41 to $46 a share. Pfizer, 9-cent loss. Compañía Valle del Rio Doce, down 15 cents. Then General Electric lost 21 cents. Quest Communications, 10th in volume, was down 15 cents. PepsiCo fell $1.83 despite third quarter earnings rising 11%. Excluding items, they came in at 99 cents a share, 3 cents above the street estimate. But the Gatorade sales for the company were disappointing, and the company also sees operating costs rising because of higher commodity prices. A very weak retail sector overall today. JCPenney down $4.73. September same-store sales dropped 4.6%, and the company cut its third quarter earnings estimate from $1.28 down to as low as $1 a share. Nordstrom, another retailer, weak, down $3.64. Company cut its third quarter earnings forecast from about 62 cents down to only 51 cents a share. And the Men's Warehouse off $4.32 after cutting its third quarter guidance of 70 to 73 cents down to about 68 cents a share. But finally, a retailer on the upside, Aeropostale, gaining $1.79. September same-store sales rose 1.3%. The company repeated its third quarter earnings forecast of 43 to 45 cents a share. A year ago, they earned only 41 cents. Ruby Tuesday, the restaurant chain, down $2.57. Lower first quarter earnings, 21 cents versus 37 last year. Same-store sales dropped 4.8%. Winnebago Industries, the RV manufacturer, closed up 28 cents, but during the day was as high as $32.35 after reporting higher fourth quarter earnings, 49 cents up from 30 last year, and revenues rose 16%. NASDAQ's most active, Apple, down $4.56, even though Goldman Sachs boosted its price target on Apple stock from $165 to $190 a share. Google under a little profit-taking pressure off $3.39. Baidu.com tumbled $34.39. JP Morgan cut its third quarter revenue estimates for Baidu from $67.9 million to $65.7 million. Research in Motion getting hit by some profit, taking off $5.88. And then Intel, 45-cent loss. Cisco fell 47 cents. Microsoft, 32-cent drop there. SanDisk off $2.98. Amazon.com hit for a $5.32 loss. And Qualcomm down 83 cents. Cortex Pharmaceuticals down $1.07, losing over 59% of its value on word the FDA will not approve the company's new drug application for its attention deficit disorder treatment because of toxicity concerns. Those are the stocks in the news tonight. Susie?
Also tonight, Paul, pharmacies around the nation pulled children's cold medicines off their shelves today. It's a voluntary move by drug makers less than 2 weeks after the government warned those cold medicines could harm babies and toddlers. The products withdrawn include drugs from Johnson & Johnson, Novartis, Tylenol, and Wyeth, as well as store-brand versions. The Food and Drug Administration says it's too easy to give a child an accidental overdose of the medicines. Next week, the FDA will consider revising the labeling for the products to include a warning about young children.
In most jobs, mistakes are inevitable, but that's not what you want to hear if you're flying in a plane or about to go under the surgeon's knife. In his latest Bill of Health, Jeff Yasteen looks at how lessons from commercial aviation about minimizing human error can make hospitals safer and more efficient.
When we step on an airplane, most of us take it as a given that we'll wind up safely at our destination. Air travel is considered routine, but those safety levels are due in part to something called Crew Resource Management, or CRM. It's a way of communication and teamwork that flight crews have used for decades. CRM lowers the chance of human error causing a catastrophic problem during the flight. Now, if only that were the case in hospital medicine. One government report estimates that up to 70,000 people die each year in hospitals as a result of preventable human errors.
What went wrong? Communication, yes. Loss of situational awareness is what we say in aviation.
And that's where trainers from an aviation group called LifeWings
over and over and over and over again, and they still made a mistake.
Come into play.
The best and the brightest in this room can make a mistake, period.
Jim Brigadier is a 30-year retired Marine Corps pilot and a LifeWings medical risk management instructor.
In aviation, we have been evolving over this in a period of over 30 years, and we are at what we call Six Sigma, which is statistical perfection. If you're flying from Fort Lauderdale to San Diego, you have a 99.9999966% chance of making it. That's good. We're trying to bring this to the same level, working as a team together to eliminate the mistakes.
A landmark 1998 report from the National Institutes of Health first documented hospital error rates and the deaths they caused. It was generally a problem that only came to light when a medical malpractice case was filed. Today, some states publish hospital error rates on the internet, and Medicare links hospital reimbursements to patient safety. Dr. Stanley Marks is a surgeon and chief medical officer at Memorial Healthcare System in Hollywood, Florida, where the months-long LifeWings process is underway.
If you reduce harm in a healthcare system, certainly you do it because it's the right thing to do, but additionally you get efficiencies. Patients are moved through the system much more efficiently, costs are lower. Errors cost money. Not only do they cause pain, but they cost dollars. And if we can do things harm-free, we will absolutely be more efficient and more cost-effective.
The bigger question is whether the lessons learned by flight crews really work in a hospital environment. Studies from groups like the federally funded Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality say they do. For these nurses, technicians, and doctors, this is just the start of their education, which will continue for months as trainers help them apply in the hospital the lessons learned about cutting human error in the air. Jeff Yasteen, Nightly Business Report, Bill of Health.
Tomorrow, our Friday Market Monitor guest is John Dorfman, chairman of Thunderstorm Capital, LLC.
Here's a look now at what's happening tomorrow. September retail sales and producer prices are released, along with August business inventories. Also tomorrow, earnings from General Electric, and Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke speaks via satellite to a Dallas Fed conference. In tonight's commentary, a few thoughts on something called cognitive fitness. Explaining what that is and why it matters is Tom Stewart, editor of the Harvard Business Review.
The jowly, corpulent tycoon of yesteryear has become today's corporate athlete. Actually, a corporate triathlete, able to run a company, swim with sharks, and ride a business cycle. That takes talent and drive, but it also demands mental and physical fitness. Lugging a briefcase is nothing like loading 16 tons, but it takes stamina to stay sharp during long workdays and despite long-distance travel. There's lots of pseudoscience about cognitive fitness. There's also, thankfully, an increasing amount of real science. Tony Schwartz, head of the consulting group The Energy Project, emphasizes that it's important to manage your energy, not your time, because energy is a renewable resource and time is finite. Work he's done at companies like Sony and Wachovia Bank shows that a few simple rituals, taking breaks from your work, getting up and walking around, turning off your BlackBerry during meetings, improves performance. Psychiatrists and neuroscientists are studying cognitive fitness too. Richard Gilkey and Clint Kiltz of Atlanta are two of them. Another is John Medina from Seattle. Their studies confirm the powerful positive effect cognitive fitness has. It can even delay the mental effects of aging. Where does it come from? Movement, puzzles, creative play, actively seeking out new experiences. It's not a whole lot more complicated than physical fitness. You've just got to do it. I'm Tom Stewart.
Recapping today's market action, after a day of wide trading swings, the Dow closed off 63.5 points and the Nasdaq Composite fell 39. To learn more about the stories in tonight's broadcast, to watch our streaming video, and to take part in our daily blog, go to Nightly Business Report on pbs.org. You can also email us at nbr@pbs.org.
And finally tonight, do you ever feel your cell phone or BlackBerry vibrating even when you're not wearing it? Well, these phantom vibrations happen to a lot of people who wear their wireless devices for long stretches of time. There are even new names for this weird feeling, like ringxiety or faux cell alarm. That's because some people feel that their phone is part of them, according to Stanford University's Persuasive Technology Lab. And Paul, some people report being so connected to their phones that all they have to do is anticipate a call and the phone begins to ring. Now, don't tell me that you're one of those people.
No, but when they get their phone bills, it'll be a wake-up call.
That's Nightly Business Report for Thursday, October 11th. I'm Susie Garib. Good night, everyone. Good night to you, Paul.
Good night, Susie. I'm Paul Kangas, wishing all of you the best of goodbyes.
Nightly Business Report is made possible by
A.G. Edwards. Objective financial advice can help make sure your nest egg is ready when retirement arrives. A.G. Edwards, fully invested in our clients.
Franklin Templeton Investments. After 50 years of worldwide investing, we see market opportunities